Now that the clarinet's together and we know how to make a sound, we're going to learn how to hold it the right way. That starts with your right hand. So if you remember playing the recorder, the right hand goes on the bottom and the left hand goes on top. Look down at the bottom joint of the clarinet. You will see 3 circle keys. Those are for your 3 fingers, index, middle, and ring finger. Now we're just going to call them 1, 2, 3. So take your fingers and place the fingertips over those circles. On the back of the instrument, you'll see this mechanism right here. That's called the thumb rest, and it's just because the thumb rests right under it and helps support the weight of the instrument. Now, everyone's fingers and everyone's thumbs and everyone's hands are all different sizes. So this is going to be what works for me, and it's going to be really close to what works for you. But your teacher will help you find that very right spot for your thumb. The basic way to start is to find the line where your fingernail of your thumb meets the rest, where the skin and the fingernail meet, and that line's going to go right under that thumb rest. We'll start there and then we can adjust it as necessary. So with your thumb under that thumb rest, find those 3 circles again and push them down. Now, the shape of your hand when it's holding the clarinet down here should be like you're holding a bottle of water. So go ahead and pretend to hold an imaginary bottle of water and then bring the clarinet into that spot, still using your fingertips to cover those 3 holes. With your thumb under that thumb rest, take your 3 fingers and flex them out and in, just so we get used to what that feels like, making sure to bring them back down, covering all of those holes all the way down each time. With your thumb under that thumb rest and your 3 fingers down, keep them down and blow. It's that same sound that we got in the first lesson, but this is how we're going to play it from now on. When your fingers are down on these keys, make sure it's tight enough so that it's covering the holes all the way, but we also don't want to squish that bottle. We don't want to have a death grip on the clarinet, just enough so it's covering those holes. With you sitting with really good posture, go ahead and bring the clarinet up to your mouth and look at where the bell is facing. That bell should face where your 2 knees are. So right in the middle of your 2 knees is exactly the angle that the bell should be facing. A very common issue for beginning players like you is to have the clarinet up too high. And by facing it towards your knees, we're going to put it at that correct angle. Another common issue is to bend your neck down or tense up your shoulders when we play the clarinet. We want to stay really nice and relaxed, still sitting with good posture. So when you're sitting in your chair with that excellent posture, go ahead and move the clarinet around, move it far out in front of you, move it towards you, go to the sides, just so you know that the clarinet can come to your mouth and that you don't have to hold it out in front of you and bring your neck down to the clarinet. Another thing to watch out for is that you're bending your neck all the way down so you can look at the clarinet. You don't need to look at it when you play, so go ahead and sit up with good posture, bring the clarinet to your mouth, and make sure the bell is facing towards your knees. Don't forget some of those things to watch out for. If you're getting a squeak, probably means that you have too much mouthpiece in your mouth. So just take it out a little bit. And if you have too little mouthpiece in your mouth, you're going to get that dull, weak sound. And you'll hear a lot of extra air. Just put a little bit more mouthpiece inside of your mouth. There's one more tiny thing, but it's a really important detail to watch out for when we place our fingers down. We want to make sure that the fingers are covering those holes all the way using just the fingertips and not big parts of your finger, just the fingertips. We also want to make sure that there's not any air escaping in or out of one of those holes. That's a really common issue to watch out for. Another one is that the first two fingers will go great, but then that third finger has trouble reaching all the way down far enough to cover the hole. And you'll get there if you just keep working at it. Hold that imaginary water bottle, thumb under the thumb rest, 1, 2, 3. And always check to make sure you're covering all of those keys, especially that third one down at the bottom. That sound that we're getting out of the instrument, that has a name, and it can have a few different names, but for now we're going to call it a letter. And I know that we've been working on the musical alphabet a lot, so you know that the musical alphabet goes from A and stops at G and then goes back to A and keeps repeating. This note that we just learned is a G. It's one of the G's on your instrument. So now think of that letter G as you play it. So if I say, play me a G, you'll know exactly what that means. And that's how to hold the clarinet.